This is the one thing all men want, and here is the answer to what feels like a million-dollar question. I did not understand it until I was around 40 years old, and honestly, I wish with everything in me that I had known it when I was a confident, curious woman in my early 20s. If I had understood this earlier, it would have saved me years of confusion, disappointment, and second-guessing. I am sharing this now to save you that time, because in the end, the truth is far simpler than most people think. The real question that so many women ask, sometimes out loud and sometimes silently, is this: what do men really want? How often have we heard the phrase that all guys want is sex? How many times has that idea been repeated as if it explains everything about male behavior? And yet, if that were truly the whole truth, it would not explain why certain men become deeply attached to some women and not to others. It would not explain why a man can lose interest even when the physical side is strong, or why another man stays loyal and emotionally invested long after the excitement settles. The real answer has to go beyond looks. Even though physical attraction does matter to men as visual beings, it has to reach deeper into what men actually want in a long-term partner. Of course, sex can be enjoyable and meaningful at any age. Desire does not simply disappear with time, and intimacy remains important throughout life. But there is something even more important than sex, something men struggle to put into words, and something many women do not realize they are not giving. This missing piece is often the reason relationships feel unbalanced or unfulfilling on both sides. To understand it, we have to look at how men think and what they experience emotionally, even when they do not openly talk about it. Many people have heard the saying that women need to feel loved in order to have sex, while men need to have sex in order to feel loved. While this idea is often repeated, it is rarely explained in a way that truly helps women understand what is going on beneath the surface. Learning how men think can actually be very helpful, not only for relationships but also for emotional connection. Dr. Luann Brizendine wrote a well-known book where she explains that in a man's world, nearly everything feels like a competition. From a young age, men are taught to compete, to perform, and to prove themselves. Men often work hard to get good jobs so they can earn enough money, buy nice things, and feel successful. On a deeper level, these achievements are tied to self-worth and identity. Traditionally, men are expected to initiate romantic interest, while women decide which men they accept. This means that men are often the ones risking rejection. On a basic and instinctive level, men compete for the attention of women, and this pattern has existed for a very long time. When a woman accepts a man's interest, it does more than make him feel happy. It confirms his value. When she rejects him, it can feel like a personal failure, even if he does not show it. Unfortunately, many women do not fully understand why sex holds such emotional importance for men. It is easy to assume it is only about physical release, but that explanation barely scratches the surface. When we look more closely at what men experience during sex, we see that something deeper is happening. Yes, there is physical pleasure, but there is also a powerful emotional need being fulfilled at the same time. For many men, being welcomed into a woman's body creates a feeling of peace, belonging, and emotional safety. It feels like a kind of homecoming that goes far beyond desire alone. It is a moment where the outside world, full of pressure, competition, and expectations, fades into the background. In that space, a man can stop performing and simply exist as himself. What men truly want, whether they can explain it or not, is the confidence that comes from being chosen. When a woman chooses a man, it does far more than create physical excitement. It builds his confidence and strengthens his sense of worth. This confidence is not just something men enjoy, it is something they deeply need. Men are often expected to be strong, unshakable, independent, and reliable at all times. At work, at home and in society. They are expected to carry responsibility without complaint. When everything around them feels unstable or overwhelming, what men need most is a safe place where they can rest emotionally. Very often, that safe place is found in the presence of a woman who loves them, accepts them, and sees them clearly. Being held, desired, and welcomed allows a man to feel secure in a way few other experiences can provide. There is an important detail to understand here. For some men, sex is closely tied to feeling emotionally secure. This does not mean they only care about sex. It means that for them, sexual intimacy is one of the clearest ways they receive reassurance, acceptance, and connection. When sex happens in a loving and trusting environment, it becomes a deeply intimate experience. In most situations, a man is physically entering a woman, and this act carries a strong emotional meaning. It can feel like one of the greatest expressions of trust and closeness he can experience. For a man, this moment often communicates that he is wanted, accepted, and worthy of being close to someone else. It tells him that he is allowed into a private and vulnerable part of another person's world. The emotional effects of sex are powerful, sometimes comparable to the calming or bonding effects people associate with substances like alcohol or certain drugs. During intimacy, the body releases hormones and endorphins that create feelings of closeness, relaxation, and emotional warmth. In the quiet moments after intimacy, when emotions are softened and defenses are lowered, many men feel a sense of peace that is hard to find elsewhere. This feeling often lasts beyond the physical experience itself. What men really want is not just the act, but the emotional security that surrounds it. The problem is that many men do not know how to say this out loud. They are not always taught how to communicate vulnerability, and in many cases they have learned that showing emotional need can lead to judgment or rejection. Men are rarely praised for exposing their emotional weaknesses. In fact, many are discouraged from doing so. Yet deep down, they want to be understood and accepted, just like anyone else. When a man meets a woman who accepts him fully, including his flaws, doubts, and imperfections, something shifts inside him. He becomes more willing to lower his defenses. He feels safer opening his heart. This is where true intimacy begins. Most men have already been hurt by competition, comparison, and rejection in different areas of life. They have experienced moments where they felt they were not good enough, or where their efforts were not appreciated. Because of this, emotional safety becomes incredibly valuable to them. When a relationship provides that safety, it becomes more meaningful than excitement alone. It becomes a place where a man can finally rest emotionally and mentally without fear of being judged or dismissed. This is the deeper truth behind what men want. It is not loud, dramatic, or flashy. It is quiet, steady, and deeply human. It is the desire to be accepted, chosen, and emotionally safe with someone who truly sees them. By the time men reach adulthood, many of them are quietly searching for a safe place in the world, a place where they do not have to act strong all the time or pretend to be someone they are not just to be accepted. Deep down, men want to be seen for who they truly are and still be wanted, still be chosen. They want someone who can hold them, touch them, and connect with them not only physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. They want to feel that their hearts, minds, and souls are welcome, not just their bodies. Men are often taught that always wanting sex is part of being masculine. It becomes part of the role they play to prove how manly they are. It is something they learn early, that desire equals strength. But behind this image, what many men truly want is a secure place where they can rest, feel safe, and be taken care of. They want a place where they can stop fighting and simply exist. The problem is that expressing these needs often makes them feel weak, like small boys instead of strong, powerful men. So instead, they hide behind sexual desire because it feels safer to show passion than vulnerability. For many men, it feels more acceptable to express masculinity through sex. Then, once they feel close and connected inside a woman's body, they can finally relax. That is where they can let their guard down, stop performing, and just be themselves. That is where they feel filled with warmth, comfort, and love. One of my friends once told me something that stayed with me. He said that one of his favorite things in the world is lying in his wife's lap while she gently massages his head. To him, that moment feels like peace. It feels like home. It feels like a deep and beautiful, safe place. Moments like that show that men do not always need sex to satisfy their deepest longings. Often, what they need is closeness, affection, and care. When a man is held like this, he feels fully accepted. He does not have to prove anything. He does not have to perform or impress. He simply has to allow himself to be open and exposed. That level of vulnerability can feel terrifying, but it can also be healing. Just, it is hard for men to ask to be held, nurtured, and emotionally touched. It is often difficult for women to offer this kind of closeness. There are a few main reasons for this, and many times these reactions happen without women even realizing it. First, many women carry their own beliefs about what men should be like. If a man does not show sexual desire all the time, some women worry that it means they are not attractive enough or not desired. This fear can make emotional closeness feel threatening instead of comforting. Second, when a man wants to be hugged, comforted, and cared for, it can sometimes feel like he is acting like a child rather than a grown man. Many women have expressed this feeling, saying it feels like they are living with children. They might say they have their kids, and then their husband feels like another one. Women often want a partner, someone they can lean on, not someone who needs constant care. This creates confusion and fear that the relationship is becoming unbalanced. Finally, many women are afraid of men who do not feel strong in their masculinity. On some level, they understand that the most aggressive and dangerous men are often the ones who feel powerless, insecure, and ashamed. History and personal experiences have shown that some men who open up emotionally and feel vulnerable later react with anger, bitterness, or even violence when they feel exposed. This makes vulnerability feel unsafe, not only for men, but for women as well. It takes a great deal of time, self-awareness, and maturity for a man to realize that he needs a safe place where he can be cared for and loved. It takes courage for him to admit that while he may want sex, what he truly wants underneath is safety, affection, and emotional security. It takes deep understanding for a man to see that allowing himself to be as open and helpless as a child may actually be one of the strongest and bravest things he can do. At the same time, a woman also has to move beyond her own conditioning. She has to be open to a man who is showing himself in new and unfamiliar ways. To do this, she must have a strong sense of self-love and confidence. Being a safe place for someone else requires emotional strength. She must be able to hold space for his vulnerability without losing herself. She must also be strong enough to protect herself if his shame, fear, or confusion turns into anger, sadness, or emotional withdrawal. This kind of emotional risk is not easy for either men or women. It asks both people to face their fears and challenge the stories they have been taught about strength, desire, and love. But when they do, the reward can be a lifetime of deep connection and growing closeness. Sex is important, and it plays a meaningful role in relationships, but sex alone is only a physical act, something that in today's world can be found in many places without emotional depth. What truly matters is what happens beyond sex. Making love is different from simply having sex. The difference is created outside the bedroom. It is built through everyday moments of kindness, respect, trust, and support. It is the emotional closeness that comes before sex that makes intimacy unforgettable. It is the feeling of being understood and valued that turns physical connection into something sacred. Men may want sex, but they also want a deep bond with their partner, a connection that transforms sex into an expression of love rather than just desire. Something as simple as cuddling in bed, with or without sex, can be incredibly healing. It allows a man to feel close without pressure. There is no need to perform or impress. It becomes a quiet moment where he can relax, breathe, and feel safe. These moments also give him space to open up, to share his thoughts and feelings in a way that feels natural and supported. In the end, love grows not only through passion, but through gentleness. It grows when both people feel safe enough to be real. When a man feels accepted in his softness and a woman feels secure in her strength, intimacy becomes more than physical. It becomes a place where both people can rest, heal, and truly belong. There is something about that quiet moment that many people overlook, something very small on the surface, but deeply meaningful underneath. When he is simply lying there, not distracted, not performing, not trying to impress anyone, just existing in that calm space, and you come close to him without asking for anything, without expectation, without pressure, it reaches him in a way few things ever do. When you approach him in that stillness, when you kiss him softly and hold him, it is not just a physical act. It becomes something emotional, something grounding, something that tells him more than words ever could. In that moment, he is not thinking about what he should say or how he should act. He is not calculating his response or wondering if he is doing enough. He is simply there, present, open, in a way he rarely allows himself to be. And what you are offering him in that moment is not excitement or drama or validation. You are offering him safety. You are offering him peace. You are offering him the feeling of being accepted without having to earn it. This is something he would not do in any other setting, not because he does not care, but because the world teaches him to stay guarded. In daily life, he is expected to hold things together, to stay composed, to be useful, to be strong, to keep moving forward. Even when he is tired, even when he feels unseen, he keeps going. So when he finally slows down enough to lie there, when his body relaxes and his mind softens, that is when his guard drops the most. That is when small gestures carry enormous weight. When you kiss him, then it feels different to him. It is not rushed. It is not about desire or urgency. It feels intentional. It feels chosen. It tells him that you are there because you want to be, not because you expect something in return. When you hold him, really hold him, not loosely or distractedly, but with presence, it sends a message that sinks deep into him. It tells him that he matters even when he is doing nothing, even when he is quiet, even when he is not trying. This kind of closeness speaks directly to parts of him he rarely shows, parts that are tired, parts that want rest, parts that want to feel valued without being measured. And while he may not say it out loud, while he may not even fully understand it himself, that moment stays with him. It lingers long after it ends. He remembers how it felt. He remembers the warmth, the calm, the sense of being seen without being questioned. Many people think that men need constant reassurance, loud affection, or dramatic expressions of love. But often, what reaches him the most is something much quieter, something that does not demand a response, something that does not ask him to explain himself. Just presence, just closeness, just you choosing to be there with him in his most unguarded state. That is why it means the world to him, not because it is rare physically, but because it is rare emotionally. Very few moments in his life allow him to receive without giving, to rest without guilt, to feel held without obligation. And when you give him that, even briefly, it fills a space inside him that he does not talk about, a space he might not even have words for. He may not react the way you expect. He may not say thank you. He may not express it clearly. Sometimes he just grows quieter. Sometimes he pulls you closer without realizing it. Sometimes he just exhales deeply, as if something heavy has finally been set down. Those reactions are not small. They are signs that what you did reached somewhere important. Over time, moments like these shape how he feels about you. They build trust without effort. They create emotional safety without speeches. They make him associate you with peace rather than pressure, and that connection, once formed, is not easily broken because it is built on how you made him feel when no one else was watching, when nothing was expected, when he was allowed to simply be. So when you wonder whether small gestures matter, remember this: when you approach him gently while he is lying there, when you kiss him and hold him without needing anything else from him, it is not small to him, it is everything. It tells him he is enough. It tells him he is wanted as he is. And in a world that constantly asks more from him, that message is powerful. That is really what this is about. Quiet connection, unspoken understanding, simple moments that carry deep meaning. If this helped you see things a little more clearly, then it has done what it was meant to do. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and thank you for watching.